Do you know how many people are needed to make an F1 car run and who pulls what strings? This is your insider's guide to who is in an F1 team. As Lewis Hamilton says, it's the people at the factory and the track who are the real heroes. There's between 300 and 1,200 people in an F1 team, depending on where it is on the grid, how much in-house manufacturing it does, and whether it makes and runs its own engines. Here's who does what. Let's start at the top, with management. The team principal oversees operations at the track and factory, an increasingly difficult job with 23 races on the calendar. They are also heavily involved in the sport's politics and are often engaged in negotiations with the organisers and the FIA. The technical director is in charge of car development and track performance, and again, it's a difficult balance. It's often their vision that makes or breaks a team, hence the salary legendary tech chief Adrian Newey earns for his talents. Then there's the travelling team. F1 is known as the travelling circus because of the number of people that travel the world to put on the show. The race team itself involves around 75 people, all working to set up, run, improve, and sometimes repair the car. The sporting director manages the racing side while the head of race engineering pulls the strings on the technical side, assisted by various heads of departments such as strategists, mechanics, and data analysts. Each car has a number one mechanic who is fully responsible for their side of the garage. Each car mechanic has a specialist role, while there are also garage technicians in support. Out of this race team, anyone can be selected to be a part of the pit stop team. Each car also has its own data analysts and strategy engineers in the garage, working with data to find ways to improve performance. They're supported by a team back at the factory that receives live track data and feeds it into simulations to predict race scenarios, often working with the team's test and reserve driver putting in laps in the simulator. Outside of the race team, there are people to set up and dismantle the team's motorhome, escort VIPs and guests through the weekend, feed the teams, and provide security. Then there's the marketing team, led by the Director of Communications, with a press officer for each driver, often seen standing alongside with a dictaphone during any post-session interviews. The drivers have their own helpers too, most essentially their trainer, who keeps them fit, hydrated, and healthy. Some also have a mind coach, some bring a manager or agent, and others, like Hamilton, sometimes even bring their dog. Before we talk about the team back at base, we want to give a shout out to our sponsor for this series, Party Poker, who currently have a special sign-up offer. If you head over to the link in the description, open a new account and deposit £10 or more today, Party Poker will match it on deposits up to £400 and give you £40 worth of free play too. Only available if you're 18 or over, T&Cs apply, and please be gamble aware and play responsibly. Back at base, we have the factory team. The team at the circuit is just the tip of the iceberg. Back at base, each team's headquarters is home to some of the brightest engineering talents on the planet. The Director of Engineering heads up the team in the design office, which is split into a dozen subsections. These include simulation, materials, design, development, quality and reliability, each led by a head of department. There is an entire team dedicated to operating, maintaining and running the wind tunnel, and the same again for the simulator, which covers over 100,000 virtual kilometers per year. The factory manager oversees its operation, and the team on the factory floor includes metal or resin machinists, composite layup teams, store operators, and test and development engineers. In the race bay, highly skilled mechanics work on the cars, stripping them down when they return from a race, cleaning them up, and replacing parts that have passed their life limits. Not everyone at the factory is on the technical side though, and the people working in commercial, logistics, hospitality, and communications are all key to keeping the show on the road. The commercial department is one of the most important, because this is where the sponsorship deals are done to enable the team to go racing. The commercial director heads up a team that includes partnership acquisition, who source and seal the deals, and partner liaison, who nurture, activate, and grow those relationships. Logistics are split into sub-teams, covering team travel, freight movements, guests and facilities, while the hospitality team is in charge of the paddock operations, organising VIPs, and partner experiences. The communications team is another major part of the operation and is led by the communications director, who, like the team principal and technical director, must balance their split between working at races and the base. Media has changed dramatically in recent years, and staff roles now range from video producers to social media advisors. There is also often a dedicated creative team responsible for everything from car liveries to letterheads. And that's all just in one team. If you multiply that by 10, then add the number of people working for FOM, the FIA, the track themselves, sponsors, media and journalists, broadcasters, and more, it becomes clear where F1 got its travelling circus nickname from.